Today, I'm presenting on the symbolism of the endless flow of Yangtze River in classical Chinese poetry. The Yangtze River, known as Changjiang or the Long River, is the longest river in China, originating from the Tibetan Plateau and stretching over 4,000 miles to East China Sea. It has shaped both the land and the people of China. Beyond its physical grandeur, the Yangtze's endless flow is vital in Chinese literature and philosophy, where it provokes feelings of insignificance and reflections on the fleeting human life compared to the history and the universe. In the Analects, standing on the bank of a river, Confucius says, "Alas, all that departs are like water in this river, parting ceaselessly by day and night." Here, the flow of water is a metaphor for the passage of time, and by extension, the endless flow of Yangtze symbolizes infinite time. The Yangtze's endless flow often evokes emotions of sorrow and feelings of insignificance. In Du Fu's poem Climbing High, written in Fengjie during the Anlu Shan Rebellion, the river becomes a symbol of sorrow and uncontrollable forces of nature. Fengjie is here in the middle of the Yangtze, in the west of the Three Gorges Dam. Here is a picture of Fengjie. The view is grand and magnificent. The poem goes, "Swift wind, heaven high, an ape's cry of grief. At the islet of clear white sand, birds circle round. Endlessly, cheese shell leaves rustling down. Without cease, the long river surges on. 10,000 miles in sorrowful autumn, always someone's guest. 100 years full of sickness, I climb the terrace alone. Suffering troubles, I bitterly regret my whitening temples. Frustratingly, I've had to abandon my cup of cloudy wine." Written in a time of political turmoil and personal hardship, the poem opens with a vast melancholic scene, apes crying and homeless birds heading to nowhere. The endless Yangtze further provokes Du Fu's feeling of insignificance, as in this tumultuous autumn, everything was out of Du Fu's control. The leaves, the Yangtze's relentless flow, the politics, and even his own fate. The endless Yangtze also broadens the scene, leading to 10,000 miles in sorrowful autumn, which shows the hopelessness of ending his wandering life, and it emphasizes that the sorrow is ubiquitous and long-lasting. As a silent witness of history, Yangtze saw the exile of Qu Yuan, the battle of the Red Cliff, rise and fall of the Six Dynasties. Its endless flow contrasts with the fleeting human lifespan and ambitions. The poem "Lament at the Beigu Pavilion in Jinkou" was written by the southern Song poet Xin Qiji in 1204. The poem goes, "Where shall I gaze upon the central plain? Before me lies the grandeur of Beigu Tower. Countless dynasties have risen and fallen, like the ceaseless waters of the Long River, flowing endlessly by." In the second stanza, he talks about Sun Zhongmou or Sun Quan, who, together with Cao Cao and Liu Bei, were the founders of the Three Kingdoms. Jinkou, a fortress built by Sun Quan, is here in the estuary of the Yangtze. At the age of 26, Sun Quan's army defeated Cao Cao in the Battle of the Red Cliff despite of a huge imbalance of power. Before the battle, Sun Quan only had several districts in the southeast in control, while Cao Cao almost unified North China. When Xin wrote this poem, northern China was invaded by Jurchens, and the Song government fled to Lin'an in the southeast, not seeking to recover the north. On Beigu Tower, Xin Qiji tried to gaze upon his homeland that he cannot return to, but he could only see, the ceaseless water of the long river, flowing endlessly by. The sentence is borrowed from Dufu's Climbing High, which also shows the poet's sorrow and powerlessness towards the world and the infinite nature. The Yangtze also draws connection between him and the historical figures. Despite his unrealized ambition, Xin Qiji viewed the Yangtze River from the same location as Sun Quan did, and he could feel the heroic past of Sun Quan. However, compared to the endless Yangtze and the long history, even Sun Quan was an ephemeral passerby. What Xin Qiji laments is that his unrealized ambition and himself will inevitably pass away and be memorialized by other people viewing the same site. In addition, the tranquility and the eternality of Yangtze inspires poets to reflect on humanity's place in the universe and the beauty of our connection with nature. Su Shi's masterpiece, The Tale of the Red Cliff, was written in the putative battlefield of the Red Cliff in 1079. In the poem, Su Shi's friends lament that, compared to the eternal Yangtze, like mayflies we live in the world, as ancient Chinese believe that mayflies are born in the morning and die by night. And he continued, I pity the transience of my life. I envy the inexhaustibility of the long river. And thus, he felt pessimistic about the transience of life and yearned for the Taoist goal of immortality. However, Su Shi offers a very philosophical relativist response using the symbols of the moon and the Yangtze. Su Shi argues that whether the world changes or not depends on our perspective. For instance, from the perspective of change, or from the short perspective, the river flows unceasingly. But if we extend the scope extremely long, the Yangtze is always Yangtze, and the water never truly disappears. Similarly, the moon waxes and wanes, yet it neither grows nor diminishes. In an external scope, the universe and humanity are eternal, generations by generations. People view the eternal beauty of the Yangtze in the same place. Hence, we don't need to be jealous of the immortality of Yangtze. Moreover, Su Shi was in exile when he wrote this poem. Similar to the Yangtze, Su Shi, a man having romance and integrity, will not be changed by the rumors and the plots of his political opponents. To conclude, in classical Chinese poetry, the Yangtze's endless flow inspires sorrow and symbolizes humanity's insignificance and brevity compared to the history and the universe. The Yangtze also shows us that the eternal beauty of life lies in our connection with nature. And here are the poems and their Chinese version. And here's the bibliography. Thanks.